Hi and welcome to Whisky Shared. You're watching my review of Okayama Triple Cask. I'm Toby and you're watching Whisky Shared. Welcome to my review of Okayama Triple Cask. This is a Japanese single malt whisky and it's distilled by the Okayama Distillery, which is part of the Miyashita Sake Brewery. The distillery itself was founded in 2011 and this particular whisky was first released in 2018. The triple cask refers to the fact that it's aged in ex-brandy, sherry and Mizunara Japanese oak casks. This particular whisky retails for around £150 and is 43% ABV. My son recently bought it back from Japan, but it wasn't a present for me, it was a present for himself. He did in fact get me a nice Japanese kitchen knife instead. Should we find out what it tastes like? On to the whisky. So before I start nosing and tasting, let's have a quick look at the colour. I'd say that is like a copper. I don't know if there is added colour, but the fact that it's been aged in wine casks and brandy casks probably would mean that it would have this sort of colour anyway. Let's start with the nose. Right, so for me, the first thing I get with this is it's a little yeasty and earthy. Almost makes me think that there's a hint of smoke in there, but this is unpeated. It's quite fruity. I'm getting red apples. I'm getting juicy raisins. I'm also getting some spices like cinnamon and star anise. And there's also a slightly rubbery note in there like new bicycle tyres. Yeah, let's move on to the palate. Yeah, so this is very fruity and I'd say it's very sherry forward. There's lots of like jammy fruits like raspberry, cherry and even damson. It really does remind me of sort of summer and autumn jams. It really is fruity indeed. Let's have another sip. Yeah, it's a little bit thin on the palate, but that jamminess, that fruitiness is really nice. It's sweet, but not too sweet. And yeah, that yeastiness that I picked up on the nose, that is there. It's not overly strong, but it is quite present, I'd say. Let's have one final sip. Yeah, for 43%, this is a little spicy as well. There's like barrel spice and a little heat and pepper, possibly coming from the Mizunara cask, but it's yeah, it's quite welcome for a lower ABV whisky. There's also a hint of cereal like oat cakes, and yeah, other than that, I'm struggling to pick out much more. I think the sherry element does really dominate on the palate. In terms of finish, I'd say it's medium long. There's heat and pepper which quite prolonged. There's some pencil shavings which are quite drying, slightly bitter, and there is that sort of sherry that lingers, a slightly dry sherry. In terms of value, well, my son picked this up at the airport. It was the most expensive bottle he could see at the time, and it was £100 equivalent in the UK. Having looked online, it's around the 150 mark or 165 euros from what I can see online. So Do I think it's good value? Well, obviously I didn't pay anything for this. It's not my bottle, but I think for my palate it doesn't really work. I think that yeastiness is like other whiskies I've had like that. I probably wouldn't reach for them often. It's not that they're unpleasant, it's just that note doesn't really make me want to drink it very often. But the fact that this is a sherry whiskey and it's also been in Mizunara cask probably does bump up the price a little. Potentially this is a young whiskey, but it's made with local barley, which is always a good thing. And yeah, it's not unpleasant at all, but I think it's probably a little bit expensive for what it is. Have you tried this whiskey? Would you buy it again? How much did you pay for it? I'd really be interested to know if you've tried this. Have you tried their other single malt? I'd also be interested to see if that's worth a go. Let me know in the comments as always. And yeah, if you think there's a different whiskey that I'd probably prefer instead of this one, let me know in the comments and I'll seek that out for a potential review in future. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Stauncher. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, why not give it a like or a comment, and please consider subscribing for more videos like this.